Good morning. It's Queen Cleo. Happy Sabbath. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm coming on to spread the gospel. So I want to talk about how everyone is doing in the time of the plague and pestilence. I see a lot of people who are not taking it serious. A lot of people who still celebrated the most pagan holiday, which was Easter, and still believes that God, the Messiah, died on Good Friday and rose on Sunday. So it's a time for repentance, to turn back to God. This is His judgment that He's placed on the world, and it's serious. You have to take this serious. You can't go out in the world and not take precautions. At my job, I see people all the time. They're not, wearing gloves. They're not wearing masks. And if you don't have the hedge surrounding you, then you need to do your due diligence to keep yourself healthy, because God said, "Not a hair on the righteous head will be touched." But if you're not keeping His laws, His statutes, and commandments, you're susceptible to His plagues and His pestilence. And, it's very sad that people are still not social distancing themselves. They're in crowds, they're in groups at home, and they're going as they please. But this is judgment placed on the earth by God. So you have to start celebrating what He says in the Bible. You can't just walk and talk and do whatever you want. You have to follow His laws, statutes, and commandments. I'm blessed that, I am a essential worker and I have to go out, but I pray every morning, put on the whole armor of God, and ask Him to protect me so, I don't receive the pestilence or the plague and, bring that back to my family. But I just want everybody to get into the Bible and read. God tell you to study to show thyself approved. We just celebrated the Passover. I saw a squirrel, that's why I looked that way. We went into the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and now we're preparing ourselves for Pentecost. And Pentecost, you're supposed to number 7 Sabbaths. After unleavened bread, you start numbering till the number 50, and that's how you come up with Pentecost. Sorry, I got choked up because I'm watching a squirrel. So we're going into the Feast of Pentecost, which is in, May. So it is exciting to celebrate the feast days and, do God commandments, because He said, if you love me, keep my commandments. So I just want to, spread the gospel. Like, the way you're living is not what God intended. He said, in the Bible, Israel was His first love, the first born, the apple of thy eye. He loves us, but we have to start celebrating and honoring Him, because He died for our iniquities. He was beat, He was bruised, He was mocked, just so we can be renewed and restored, and God, His Father, can forgive us. So, I always say, wake up Hebrews, wake up other nations, because, the time has come. Judgment is placed, and my pastor said every 100 years there's a pestilence, a plague that placed on the earth, and there's so many people dying. There's so many people getting, infected every day with the plague and the pestilence, and they're still consuming things outside of the dietary law. If God tell you don't touch it, don't eat it, then you just don't need to. I just, thank God that I was awoke in my family. My husband awoke us, and first I was always saying in my videos, I didn't hearken, because it was so strange to me, because what I was taught was a lie. What I knew was a lie, and it was going against everything that I believed. But when I prayed to God and He opened my eyes, He gave me an ear to hear His Spirit. When I'm weary, when I'm confused, I go into prayer and I hear, God tell me, you can do this. I'm here for you. I'll protect you. I will defend you. And, you got to go out and spread the gospel. I choose to spread the gospel on my channel. and, try to wake everyone up, try to, give them the word that I'm learning, and hopefully they will apply it to their lives. But I used to feel responsible when, they didn't hearken, or my family, how could they not see what I'm seeing? But God doesn't give everybody sight to see it, and He doesn't give everybody an ear to hear. And, everyone is called. Many are called, but few are chosen, and we are chosen. Hebrew Israelites, other nations. When you get to be chosen, that's a direct gift from God. He chooses His people. He loves His people. So we have to start celebrating Him the way He intended, and not doing what the world does. Now the world is at home, but they're still not following what He says. They're still consuming crab, lobster, shrimp. I saw several videos. They're still, having strife. There's still fights. They're still not doing what God says. Because in the Bible, when, they were in the wilderness, they were crying to go back to Egypt, the land of milk and honey, where they were, chained. They were sold, and, God brought them out into the wilderness, and they were still crying and murmuring and, talking about Moses and Aaron. They were still being a stiff-necked nation, and they're still doing that. They're not listening to anything that God says. He gives us a map, I would say a roadmap to salvation. If you do this, and His instructions are not grievous, it's easy to do. It's easy to not work on Saturday. It's easy not to, worship on Sunday, because it was changed in history, and in the Bible tells you what day, the seventh day. This Sunday is the first day. So why are you going to church? Why are you having online church? You're not serving the true Messiah when you do that. And, a lot of people combat and they fuss about it. Oh, my mama, celebrated, so I'm going to worship on Sunday. Feast days were done away with. No. The only thing was done away with was the sacrificial law. That's the only thing was done away with. Every time I read the Bible, I find out something new that I never knew. But I find comfort in His word, because I know everything that He says will come to pass. If you live your life righteous, if you walk uprightly, God will bless you abundantly, more than you can ever thought of being blessed. This year, the blessings have been overpouring. During this pestilence and plague, we're doing well. I pray for those who are in financial distress. I pray that they receive a major blessing, but in order to be aligned with God says, you have to follow His commandments. We have to get out of being popular to society and to the world, conforming to the world, doing what everyone does in the world. Stop idolizing people. God said don't create idols. Don't idolize. He is the one true living God. We are to worship Him. We are to love Him. We're not to idolize after anybody. God was not a respected person. He didn't pick one person. What that mean, respect a person. God, if you do something that is not of Him, He's going to give you a reward. He's going to put judgment on you. He's not going to say this person is my favorite or that person is my favorite. You have to show yourself in His eyes that you are serving Him. You're doing His laws, His commandments. You're studying to show yourself that approved. You have to prove yourself to God. You have to be a faithful servant of God. So God tells you to walk in my light. When you walk out of it, then things will come upon you. Sickness, violence. If you live that type of life, then that's what is going to come upon you. Now we have a pestilence. Now we have a plague, because God is, He's tired. He's tired of you disrespecting His Sabbath. And that's one of the commandments. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Keep my commandments. You're not doing any of that. God tell you, to marry. Now everyone is against marriage. They want to just do what they want to do. They want to commit fornication. They want to be married, but they also want to be in the world and, committing adultery. So I just tell everyone that I, come in contact with. If they ask me, why you're not celebrating, holidays, I tell them I don't, because it's not of God. I don't celebrate any holiday. I came away from that, and I'm glad that God opened my husband's eyes and then our eyes. And we have family who are stronger than ever. So I just want you guys to come away from it. This is awakening. This is a time of repentance. This is the time to turn back to Him, because like I said earlier, there's people all over that are being put to sleep, who are dying from this illness, from this plague. It's serious. It's still here. I see people going out, because it's April, is spring, and they want to go out and do things. But God tell you that, this is a plague. This is a pestilence. And in the world, they tell you to social distance. Stay home. Stay home. Don't come out. If you don't have to work, stay home. This is not time to not follow orders, because it's already been written how many people will fall before their eyes on one side to the other. There will be thousands. But if you serve Him right, it won't come near you. You will see the bodies. And sorry. Ooh, I had to breathe. I was talking too fast. When you go in the Bible, and Revelation tell you, when He returns, the slain of the Lord will be many. So the slain of the Lord is many right now, and it's over all the world is the slain. But when the great tribulation, that's going to be like nothing you ever saw before. You have to have that protection. You have to have the seal in your head. So when the angels release those vows that they speak of in Revelation, you're not touched. He's going to hold back all that and seal His people in the foreheads. And then He's going to release all that He says, all that He speaks of. He's going to sit on the horse, and He's going to have a sword dipped in blood, and He's coming back to take His kingdom. He has to turn over a perfect kingdom to the Father. So He's coming back. He's coming back to do what is written in Revelation. So, a lot of pastors that are the first day church, they tell you they're not going to read it, or they don't go into Revelation. But Revelation is something that you need to go read, because it's setting you up for when He does return. You're not going to be drawn up. You're not going to just fly up. No, it's not like that. God is going to come down, and He's going to make everything right. He's going to put everything in its place. And you have to be ready. You have to get to that wilderness if you're in His list of people, of His people. So you have to, stop doing, things that are not of Him. I tell everyone, this is real, this is true. Please stop it. Please hearken to Him. I use this channel to spread the gospel, because everyone, that is not in the truth, they're lost. And it's sad. I cried many nights about it. But I want you guys to get into the truth. Start celebrating His Sabbath. This is true Sabbath. Friday sundown, Saturday sundown. From even to evening. That's His Sabbath, not Sunday. Eating pork, eating shrimp, crab, lobster, shrimp. That's not His dietary law. Over in China, that's, where it originated from, because they were eating outside of the dietary law. They're consuming animals that are living pets. The creeping things He tell you they were consuming. You can't do that. You can't live your life for you. You live your life and walk in the news of God, not yourself. This is real. The plague is real. People are dying. Wake up, Hebrews. Wake up, other nations. We were lost. Our eyes were uncovered. Our eyes were covered, but He uncovered our eyes, took the scales off our eyes, and now we know how to serve Him. So start serving Him the right way. You can live, and then you can do his works. It's not taking everything away from you. And a lot of people will hate you, as he said in the Bible, for serving him. They will think something wrong with you. They will, distance themselves from you. But you have to be ready for that. You have to be ready for people not to talk to you because of you serving God. And I've already, experienced that. And I don't regret anything. I'm not turning back from serving my God, my Lord, and to turn back to the world. Well, the world couldn't give me anything. I'm not conformed to the world. I'm not of the world. I'm in the world. This is where God has placed me. But I know it's going to come a day where I'm going to be with him. And we will not suffer anymore. We will not have to deal with death anymore. He's going to put that under him when he comes. First Adam got it wrong. He offended God. He sinned against him. But the Messiah came and he rectified it. He died for us. And we have a chance to be in his kingdom if we do his laws, his commandments, and his statutes. If we live a God-fearing life. You treat and you love thy neighbor. You marry, you love thy husband, thy wife. If you don't want to have, then you can't live a life of where you're going to do fornication. If you want to, have a life where you love somebody and you engage in things that, married couples do, which is right, then you have to get married. But I'm just glad that it's another Sabbath. I'm glad that I'm celebrating the Most High God. I want to wake up everybody this morning and let you know that you are blessed. You are filled with the Spirit. You walk in his laws, his commandments, and statutes, and you'll be fine. I encourage you guys to, pray every day. Seek him daily, day in and day out. I created like a prayer room in my home, and I'm happy. I call it my war room because I go in there and I battle everything that I face every day and give it to him. He is the Most High. He is the most important thing that I have. That's the most important relationship you can have is with God. He is number one. You have to hearken. And those who don't hearken, you'll go to the lake of fire. And those who are spreading lies, and he said there will be people, false prophets that come in his name, who are telling you, or who are traveling to Jerusalem, and they tell you not to go there yet, and who are painting pictures of the Messiah. We never saw him. They tell you don't make any graven images. We have never saw or never dealt with, God. Only the Messiah. And you don't supposed to create anything that have, angels that are images of God. But they have them in the church. They have the crosses. That's not of him. He tell you do not create anything. When that day comes and we're in the first resurrection, because we are going to be in the first resurrection, I'm encouraging all my Hebrews and other nations, you will reign with Christ for 1,000 years. You will sit on a throne and be a judge. He created us to be gods. That's what we were created for. So I want you guys to just stay encouraged. Any questions, any concerns, you can comment below, like, share, subscribe. I thank God for my 75 subscribers that I have. And I do this channel for God and God only. And just to encourage you guys, just to, I grew up in church. I grew up going to church every Sunday, revivals, weekly church. But I was never taught and never fed the knowledge that I am being fed now. This is a different experience to experience a pastor or pastors who are into the truth and who are telling you our history. We are not what they say in the world. We're Hebrew Israelites. There's 12 tribes. You are one. So get in the scripture and ask God, change my ways. Allow me to be who you said I am. I'm the head, not the tail. You were created to be blessed. He said, when you're serving him right, you'll be blessed. Everything you touch will be blessed. You'll be blessed in the city. You'll be blessed in the field. You are the apple of thy eye. You are a royal priesthood. You were made to serve him. You were made to be fruitful. You were made to live a prosperous life. You were not made to be sick. You were not made to be wicked and unrighteous. So, stop with the strife with thy brother, thy sister, thy mother, thy father. Honor. God tell you honor your mother and thy father. Your days will be long. Stop blaming others for your life. God gives everyone free will. He gives everyone a life, breath of life. We are a living soul of him. With Adam in the Bible, he gathered him from the ground, the dust. He created Adam, and he breathed the breath of life into him. So he is a living soul. Every breath you take is God. That's your connection to him. You have his breath in you. He allowed you to be born. He allowed you to walk, talk, and do all the normal things. He never created us to be sick. But there's curses, there's plagues placed upon some people because of what our forefathers did and what things, the light they walked out of. And they did wicked things. They made sacrifices to false gods. And now their children and their children's children are affected by it. They're sick. They're being born sick. They're being born not how God intended them to be. So you got to know, there's order. God, the Messiah, husband, the man, the woman. When you praying, women, cover thy head. He said, if you pray to him with your head uncovered, you're dishonoring your head. You might as well be bald or shaven in the Bible. So cover your head. The man is the head of the house. There's no debate about it. Allow him to lead. Come away from what the world says that, the future is female. We are to serve God the way he intended. Stop serving the world, because when it's all said and done, the world can't give you anything. The world can't give you anything. And I thank God for the newness. I thank God for celebrating all his feast days. Passover, it was wonderful. A Feast of Unleavened Bread was wonderful. Abel, the New Year, was wonderful. Spring is what God tells you about the New Year. Things are changing. The seasons are changing. That's what the New Year is. It's not when it's cold and icy. What the world says is a New Year. You see, things are growing. So you have to hearken your heart to him. You have to listen to God. I hear all kinds of things outside. I see squirrels. I see lizards, birds. It's beautiful to hear what God created. So you guys, that's my time. I just want to, come on and just encourage you that we are blessed. We are healed. Everything that we need is in God. Everything. So start serving him. Start doing the works of him. Start celebrating his feast days and keeping his commandments and his laws. We are loved. We are blessed. I am blessed. I'm filled with the Spirit. My family is filled with the Spirit. We're doing well in this season. And, God will, when he said, you follow his commandments, there's nothing you cannot ask for. The righteous prayers are a delight to him. He wants to hear you singing. He wants to hear you reciting his words, bind thy words upon thy neck. And then, keep it in your heart. Where your heart is in your head, what he speaks of. Not your physical heart. But you have to love him, and you have to do what's right. Come away, be ye separate. And you will get in the kingdom. You will walk with a newness. Nothing will bother you. You will get angry sometimes. But you will not allow your anger to, make you sin. Because iniquity is sin. And God tells you he wants you to live a righteous, sin-free life. That's what the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You eat unleavened bread for 7 days because you're sin-free. Leaven is sin. A little leaven leavens the whole lump. So you sin a little, it's just like you're sinning a lot. You steal a little thing, you still stealing. You commit an adultery one time, that's still adultery. You have a hatred for your neighbor, he said, love thy neighbor. Do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not kill. So you have to be sin-free. You have to walk in his light. He is perfect, he is pure. We are imperfect. So we have to show ourselves to him, because he has shown himself to us. He has given up his life. He came here. He was a being. And, when he was born as a baby, he lived a life, and he died. He was crucified. So he took all of that for his people. He loved us that much. And you have to show your love to him. So at all times, I put on the whole armor of God. And I want you guys to put on the whole armor. Celebrate him in the way he intended. Love him as he loved us. This is my time. It's Queen Cleo. I hope I inspired you. I hope this finds you well. I hope you guys walk in the newness of God. Peace.